شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان
We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this period of Ramadan, a time when we have the opportunity to concentrate on serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, earning His blessings, His rewards, and obliterating our errors and mistakes. Today we are discussing patriotism and Islam. Patriotism is devotion to your country and giving it vigorous support, that is, with all your energy. It means loyalty to the nation. Is what also leads to nationalism. When you hear in our history, people are described as nationalists. We talk of people like Chief Amirul-Awwal from the west here, Shaykh from the east, Sardana from the north. You have people like that. We call them nationalists. It is because of the act of patriotism, the attachment they had to the nation, to the country, and their loyalty to it. Patriotism is the feeling of love and a sense of attachment to one's country. This attachment can be a combination of many different feelings, like language, the language of your homeland, your ethnic cultural activities, political or historical heritage. These are the things that give you that feeling, the attachment to the values, the ethos, and the principles of the people. And this political, cultural language is also a form of identity that brings all of you together. From youth, those days when we were in primary school, you know, when you had occasions, Independence Day, or whatever occasion we had then, we were given small flag, Nigerian flag, to also demonstrate our own loyalty to the country. We wave the flag, we go on the road to receive governors. They were military governors then. I remember we sang a song when we were in primary school to receive Governor U.J. Esuene, who came visiting Kwara. And we had to trek 2 kilometers from the town to come on the main road, the third road, where Esuene will pass. And as primary school pupil, we stood on the road singing, "Welcome, Esuene, welcome. We are happy, anxious to see you on this day. Welcome." We sang, we were happy. It was part of our understanding, what we were taught. But the peak of patriotism is your willingness, your readiness to even sacrifice your life for that country, for the people, for the benefit of the people. This is not a kind of a suicide thing, but imagine a person who has joined the army, the police, for example. It's simply a way of, I'm prepared, I'm ready to sacrifice my life for this country. Because if you go out to fight, who says you'll come back? Come on, standing at checkpoint for a policeman, who says he will return home? He has agreed to sacrifice his or her life. It's an indication of their love for the country. It's patriotism. Now, is it good in Islam to be patriotic, to love your country? Of course it is. Historians made us to know that when Rasulullah ﷺ was leaving Mecca towards the Hijrah, severally he would look back at the city of Mecca, seeing the environment, and water will be coming from his eyes. And he was said to have repeated severally also, "O Mecca, if I had not been banished or persecuted, I wouldn't abandon you." This is a sign of love for a city where he was born. But in Islam, the love for your country, the love for your people, your patriotism has a limitation or has limitations. There are things that patriotism, the love for your people, for your nation, can lead to, which Islam does not support. A major one is what our scholars call asabiya, which we can roughly translate to mean tribalism. Your love for your tribe, for your people, can make you start to feel the greatness of your tribe so much that you don't have respect for other tribes. You don't honor them. You don't respect them. You see them as half human beings. You see your own people as superior. You are the superior race. You are the entitled group. Others are supposed to be worshiping you. You have people in the world where human beings are put in castes, a kind of class system. You have those who are in the ruling, and if you are never born into that family, you can never aspire to say you want to rule. It's not acceptable to them. You have the workers. When they have their children, they will remain workers forever. You have the slaves. The children they give birth to will also be slaves. Islam does not support this. In Islam, you must not allow tribalism to stand up. There's an hadith of Jubair bin Mut'im, where he told us the Prophet ﷺ has said there are three issues he emphasized. Number one, laysa minna man da'a, that is the first, calling to asabiya, calling to tribalism. The second one is laysa minna man qatala. If he dies on tribalism, you are struggling on the superiority of your tribe and you die. Islam does not consider it patriotism. It is wrong. It is not acceptable. And the third one is mamata. You die on it. Either you are calling to it, you kill because of it, or you die because of it. Islam does not allow this. Islam does not support it. Again, we are reminded of the ayah 13 of Surah Al-Hujurat, that's 49, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna halaknakum min dhakari wa unsa, wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabail lita'arafu, inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum, inna Allaha alimun habir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, we have created you male and female, and we have made you into tribes and families or nations only for one purpose, lita'arafu, that you may know yourselves. Then he warned us, go and know the most honorable of you before Allah is the most pious, the careful one, that is those who carry out their duties, the ibadah, the way you are supposed to carry them out. So your patriotism has limitation. It must not evolve or involve tribalism. It must not evolve into tribalism, and it must not involve tribalism. A second important point that we must also know is Islam insists on justice, al-adl. In Surah An-Nisa, ayah 135, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us, Bada ausbillahi minash shaitanir rajim, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kunu qawamina bil qist shuhada Allahi wa la ala anfusikum aw bil walidain wal aqrabin wa in yakun ganiyan aw faqiran fallahu ala bihima fala tatabi'u al hawa an tahdilu wa in talu aw turidu fa inna Allaha kana bima ta'maluna habir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically calls us, O you who believe, be maintainers of justice, bearers of witness for Allah's sake. For Allah's sake. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added, and these are the very relevant factors, Though it may be against your own self or your parents or near relatives. It can be for the rich or for the poor. Allah is nearer to all of you. So justice is very, very important. Very, very important. In the patriotism you are doing, it must not lead you into injustice against the other. Once it leads you into injustice, you are automatically turning into something else. Justice and fair play is absolute in Islam. Everybody must get it. Then, in this verse, Allah has brought out a major factor which do derail our patriotism. When he says, فَلَا تَتَبِعُوا الْهَوَى, don't follow your self-desire, your low desire. Don't follow it. Because this is the easiest way to get you derailed and then to be following the path of shaitan, because it is very, very easy for patriotism to lead you into something else. You can become unjust because you are attached to your country. You become unjust to foreigners. You are attached to your tribe. You become unjust to people from other tribes. You are from a region. You become unjust to people from other regions. Islam does not support this. You need to be very firm in understanding. To love your country, to love your people, to love your tribe is not a crime. But the moment it brings it tribalism or it leads to injustice, it has become something out of Islam. And every Muslim must be very careful to ensure that you don't allow this to mislead you. Patriotism is quite very, very important. It is something that should become a culture, a way of life for people. It's a kind of emotional attachment, sentiment. If you are not careful, it can also become tribal prejudice. So it must be about searching for personal gain. You are not searching for personal gain. You are not searching for wealth or power. It's a form of ideology that when people imbibe, it turns them into a solidly cemented structure for that community, for the people, for the country. They become like the defense guard. They have the history, they have the commitment, and they not only demonstrate it, they are putting it out as it is required. Patriotism is a culture that grows in people. The children imbibe this from their parents. They are taught to learn it. Like I showed earlier, as school children who are taught to learn and be patriotic to our country, to respect our leaders, to honor them. However, we must all remember one thing. Patriotism, if it's not properly taught to the children and they grow up without it, your country, your people, your community will not be safe. There's no security. We all remember the popular story of the Great Wall of China. China built wall for the defense of its land. But when the invaders came, they did not need to break the wall. What did they do? They settled the men guarding the walls. And after settling them, they were able to enter easily. So when there's no patriotism, the wall you have built, the gate you have fenced and you have put the lock is compromised. Your wall is compromised. It's patriotism that will help you to sustain. And this is only possible when the leaders serve the people. This is only possible when the leaders serve the people. Serving the people is very vital for patriotism to be built and sustained. When you are not serving the people, it is not possible for you to build and expect patriotism to be sustained in your community. No. People, what government or leadership cannot provide, people will want to seek on their own. When government is not just, where there's no justice in town, then you expect jungle justice. People will do what they like. This is not Islam. Islam wants the leader to be just, to stand by justice. And that's the essence of this ayah, Quran 38, ayah 26, where Allah SWT instructed Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka halifata fil ard. Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka halifatu fil ard. Fakum bayna nas bil haqq. Wa la tatabi'u li hawa. Fayudilluka an sabilillah. Allah SWT is very clear. You have been made the leader. Judge justly with the people. When you judge justly, beware of following your lusts, because it will lead you away from Allah. It will create problem for you. Self-desire will come in. Low desires will come in. And the next thing is you find the people turning away, becoming rebellious, moving away from what government naturally would have expected them to do. So the basic fact is that the leadership must take the responsibility of being just, of being fair, of giving the citizenry what they need, what they deserve. When the government is able to establish all this and plan for the people, then patriotism will be sustained, it will be there, and there will be no problem. So we enjoy, all of us, to be patriotic to our country, to try our best to ensure that we serve and we love our nation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
هذا القرآن يوحدنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا الله تعالى أنزله ورسول الله معلمنا هذا القرآن يوحدنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا الله تعالى أنزله